rebuilding confidence, and harmonizing with nature. With over 4 decades of changing lives, your self-discovery archaeologist, get ready to be the best of you with your host, Beverly Zeimet.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Beverly Zeimet Show, where being the best you can be just got easier. So my guest today is Mavis Herrera. Did I get that right? Yay!
Hi everyone.
Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for being here. And let our audience know where you're from and what your passions are, the things that you like to do, a little bit about your family.
Okay, so I always say I'm from everywhere.
Oh, I love that.
Like everywhere, why not? Home is everywhere.
That's right.
So I was born actually in Los Angeles, California.
Okay.
And as soon as I was born, my parents took me to San Quintin, Baja California, which is like 6 hours drive from San Diego, California, from the border. And when I was 13 years old, my parents were like, okay, it's time for you to go back to the US because things were getting a lot of dangerous in Mexico, the crime, everything. So I moved to Chico, California, up by San Francisco.
Oh, I know where that's at.
So I grew up in Chico for high school, and it was a hard time because I was only able to see my parents for 2 weeks out of the year. So I became very independent, but my uncles were taking good care of me. And then I moved to San Diego for college, and I'm now closer to my parents, which is nice.
Okay.
And so I was working for 10 years in international business and traveling around the world, doing a lot of fun stuff. And then I love to travel by myself. And my mom,
a girl after my own heart. Yes.
like 3 jeans, like 2 tank tops, a sandals, a pair of shoes, a backpack, and let's get out of here. Let's go and explore.
Oh, I hear you, sister. I'll tell you. Yeah.
I love it. I mean,
it's great. When you want to turn left, you can turn left. If you want to turn right, you can turn right. If you want to stop, you can stop. And there's nobody to answer to.
If I just want to sip a coffee and look at the mountain and feel the air, that was fine. And I will go to like unknown places. Like my friends were like, "Wait, where are you traveling?" I'm like, "Huaraz." Like, well, the highlight of Peru it's Machu Picchu, and where's Huaraz? It's like 6 hours up north in the mountain. It's highest than Machu Picchu, and I would just go like to unknown places, which it was great. And then had a great job. I mean, great boss, everything. And then a year ago, I decided to leave the corporate world. I was like, done. I wanted to start doing something on my own. And that's when I started doing Mavis by Herrera, which are bags made out of recycled plastic materials.
Oh, you have to share that. What does it look like?
I have one here.
Look at that. Made out of plastic bags, huh?
It's completely upcycled, made out of recycled plastic materials. And I started with 2 ladies, and right now we have 9 ladies. And these bags, they give back to the community. I'm teaching them business skills. And I'm also running a program. It's called Shoes for Stars, where we give a pair of shoes to a kid in need. And right now, for every bag they purchase, we're supporting small businesses.
Okay.
And I'm going to literally like to small businesses, restaurants, buying a gift certificate and then give it to someone in need.
Oh, how sweet is that? That is beautiful.
That's Mavis.
That's Mavis. Well, Mavis is doing a great job. So how has your business been affected with everything that's going on in the world today?
Well, people are definitely not really looking into buy bags right now. That's not a priority. And I get it because I'm like, I'm not going to advertise my bags like when things are going like that right now.
Exactly.
But I can do something about it. And I say, why not for every bag, let's support each other. Let's help out. And that's what I'm doing. So I just started this like a week ago. So for every bag, we help small businesses. Like, why not to help? Like, I mean, we're all going through a hard time, but I'm a
Right.
truly believer that even on hard times, you can still help. We can still do something.
Oh, exactly.
That
Exactly.
that's me. That's behind the brand, and I want to continue doing this.
Yeah, and it's getting resourceful. Getting resourceful no matter what's going on. You don't give up. You don't, you know, take yourself in this downer. It's like, okay, I have to make a shift. What can I do here, right? Where can I where can I take this? What can I do to keep on going and make a difference not only in my life but in everybody else's life out here, right? And that is really good, and to be resourceful like that. And you've been around the world, so you've been in that business world, so it gave you an idea too of what to expect and different things and avenues to look into, which is awesome. So
Yes, and one of my values when I first started, I mean, I left a corporate job and I wanted to start something, but it wasn't because I had an idea. I never thought I was gonna end up in the fashion industry selling bags at all. Like,
yeah.
no, my plan was to move to Vietnam for 6 months and help a community in need. But then life, like, you tell life your plans and life make fun of it, right?
You know,
It
you got that
redirects
right.
you.
You got that right.
Yes. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay. And but the reason behind was like I made the decision that for now on, everything I want to do in life is gonna be with a meaningful purpose. That's how I want to live life. So every morning when I wake up, I want it to be the best day of my life
Hmm.
because if this is my last day, it's gonna be the best day. And I wanna be remember like Mavis actually she did change, like even like little things,
Right.
it can bring something bigger. So I choose to live life making a meaningful purpose, and that's by touching people's life, helping people, supporting people. That's who I am.
That's great, and that's why you're on this show, right? It's all about being that best you that you can be. And every day, I wake up in the morning, and it's like, okay, what can I do today to be an even better me, right? And be grateful for everything that transpires. And, it's no different than what you just expressed. And that's good. And it's living in that moment. Yesterday is gone. This morning is gone. All you have is now and what's going to happen going forward, right? And so living in the moment is where it's at, right?
Yes, and a lot of people like ask me like, how can you do that? How can you live that? How why they still don't understand why did I sold my car? Why did I left my corporate job? Like why? And it's because through my past, I've been through a really hard times, and I learned that not even all the money in the world was gonna give back like my best friend that I lost 2 years ago. Like no, not even all the money in the world is he was not coming back.
Right.
And then I have 2 years ago I had my heart rate just dropped to 28. So pretty much doctors were waiting for me my heart rate to shut down.
Sure.
And I mean those are the times that you really start appreciating like how or asking yourself like how are you gonna live your life? What do
Hmm.
you want out of this? Because
Right.
not even in that intensive care, like all the money was gonna save me.
No,
So
no, that's
it's like you start getting more into other things besides money. I know money can just go into life, but there's so
you're gonna
much
have to
out there.
come into the speaker a little bit. We're losing you. Okay,
Sorry, son.
that's all right.
So there's so many things out there in life besides money that can bring happiness. So why not use it? You know?
That is so true, and when you have events like that happen, you begin to look at life differently. And losing someone that's dear to you. I had that happen to me. It's 20 some years ago already, right? But I remember like it was yesterday. We were like soulmates, and we had a short time together, but we lived it to its fullest. And he was gone in a flash. I mean, just a split second, and he was gone. And it's like, wow, you never know from one moment to the next whether or not you have that next moment. So if you live every moment to its fullest as if it were your last, what would you do? What would that be? And so it's a beautiful story what you're sharing here and what you're doing, being able to give back. And that's what it's all about. We're all one and united, and it's about sharing and caring and giving back in that interaction. And however we do it, is what transpires. And so you're a beautiful soul, Mavis, and to be able to do what you're doing is fantastic. And it's sad that people have to ask, how can you do that? Because again, they're still in that different mentality, that different thinking, that different thought processing, the scarcity mentality, right? And not having enough. And we see that now with the extremes of what's going on, where people want to just like hoard everything, and then those that are not into that mentality of that, they're like, well, where to go? What do I do now? And so there has to be a balance here of some sort, and are you finding that down there?
Yes, and you mentioned a good point, like when people are like, how can you do it? Is the fear mentality, right?
Oh gosh, yes.
But I went back to like my earlies when I was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, growing up wasn't easy. It was hard. Like the situation in Mexico, like kidnapping and all that stuff. Like it was hard. Like they kidnapped one of my good friends, and I didn't understand what was going on. But then I realized that I was living on fear pretty much all my life.
Right.
And I was like, if I'm living on fear, why am I scared? Because I already know what it is to be scared.
Right.
And why not say yes to fear? So I say, okay, fear. I turn around, like, let's hold hands. And before leaving my corporate job, I remember I start doing all the things that make me scared. Like I'm scared of flying, and I like to travel, right? But those are different. But I'm still, I get the chills, like, oh my gosh, when we're boarding and then the landing, I get scared. So what I did, I went and booked some flight classes.
Okay.
And then I went to this little tiny little airplane. It's not even an airplane because it was hang gliding. So we're like on the air.
Oh my goodness! Now that's an extreme.
Yes. And I face it, and I had the best time ever. We went and like early in the morning, we watched the sunrise, and oh my gosh, it was amazing. And I was like, in all this just because I was scared. Okay, Mavis. Right. And then I'm scared of snakes, so I went and touched a snake.
And that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it, is to stand in the midst of that fear and conquer it. Right?
Yes. And that's how I was like, okay, so I'm going to walk next to fear, but I will continue moving forward no matter what. As long as my mind is stronger than my own fear, then I'm okay. And that's what really helped me keep going.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, because a lot of people out there have that, and they don't know how to get past it, right? And it keeps on getting bigger and bigger. Those fears keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, which then keeps taking you down further, right? And so to be able to stand in the midst of that and say, hey, I recognize this fear, and I recognize what it's doing to me, but I'm not going to give it control anymore, right? So what can I do to take charge of my fear that I can move beyond that? And, so there's many ways of doing that and being able to find a way that fits best for you, And so what you just shared, your little story and how you moved across that, was beautiful. And coming out the other side. The fear of the unknown is probably the greatest, because we get in our little comfort zone here, right? And it's familiar. We might not like it. It's uncomfortable, but it's predictable. That over there, well, what if it's worse, right? But what if it's better? And the majority of the time, it's always better. Why? Because it's what you make it. What do you want to be over there on the other side, right? And so you were willing to say, okay, fear, I'm taking you with me. We're going for a ride, and we're going to go down this glider and see what happens, right? And it's like, there you go, fear. Look how much fun this was, right?
Yes. And it's all about, in this journey, I learned a lot about myself. It's like, who's Mavis? Who really is Mavis? Because
right.
I wasn't a title from my previous jobs. I wasn't a salary. I wasn't a money. I wasn't the sporty girl. Like, who actually is Mavis inside? And that I learned through fear. Like, Mavis, it's someone who likes challenge, who say yes to fear, who take the risk, and who, no matter what happened, she always gonna have her. And that's okay, I got me. And if I got me, then
you don't need anyone else. That is so beautiful, and thank you for sharing that. That's a great way of looking at things. And I understand about identity too. I had lost my identity, where I didn't have a name anymore. I was referred to as being so-and-so's mom, or being married to so-and-so, or living at such and such, or writing for the newspaper, or whatever. You were associated with what it was that you did, not who you are. And it's like, there's got to be more to this. And I actually started saying to people, and they say, oh, aren't you? I say, no, my name is, right? And I would do that. I would do that, right? Or they'd say, well, don't you belong to? Because I was married at the time, is belong to? I don't think so. I said, no, I'm me, and my name is, right? And some of these were family members or in-law, people, and they would look at you like, what? Now I'm going to date myself. This was back in the 70s. Right, a long time ago, and and people didn't respond that way, and because the culture was different, and the environment and everything. But it was like, wait a minute, I have an identity, and that's the same thing you said. I have an identity. Who is this identity of Beverly, of Mavis, right? And you started doing that soul searching, however it took you. And because one of the things that you related to yourself the most was fear, that fear is what took you out of that unknown identity into the known identity. I used anger. Mine was anger, right? And that took me out of what I wasn't into who I am. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. Yes. I would share another. I was married, right? But this person just married me for papers, and turned out to be one of the horribles ever, person. I was abused domestically through him, and good thing that I was able to get out of that relationship. But I remember when I got out, I was feeling the worst piece of human that you can imagine in this planet. I was completely destroyed. I was feeling the most ugly person in the world, the most horrible, the worst.
Right.
And it took me months, a year, to rebuild myself, because just like someone that will compliment, say, oh, you're pretty, and his voice will come here like, no, I'm a piece of this, I'm ugly, right. I'm not, I don't worth, I'm not worth it, I'm not smart. And through that, it took me time to rebuild, and then I started putting the power to say, stop, I'm not that, I'm Mavis, and this is me, and rebuild myself little by little. But I did it. And I'm so glad I was able to get out.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And thank you for sharing that, because there's so many women out there, And any of you out there now that are listening to the story that this beautiful woman is telling us, right, and sharing, there is hope, on how you can get through that, and being in a domestic violence or in a bad relationship where you've been beaten down and beaten down and beaten down, you begin looking at yourself as being so much less than, and it just is instilled so deep in that cell memory, because a lot of it was beaten into you, shall we say, literally sometimes, into that memory and the fear of it. And then when you break free of it, it's the shame, it's the guilt, right? And it's the judgments, and a stigma that comes with it, right? And what are people going to think of me, right? And your self-esteem, your self-value, your self-worth, everything about yourself has been so beaten into the ground that you really don't know who you are anymore. You thought you did, and then you kind of start blaming yourself and saying, well, what did I do wrong? Right? How come this happened to me? What was this was my fault, right? And it really wasn't. It's circumstances. But to be able to pick yourself up and like you say, when you hear those voices that are repeated and repeated, say stop, and not listening to it anymore, to be able to move out of it. It takes a lot, and sometimes we don't have others to help us with it, or we don't want to share with others because we're embarrassed, and again, we hold that shame and those guilt and stuff. What will people think about me, right? Are those all those thoughts that were going through your head?
Yes, for me, it was like, if I'm the worst piece of human being, like what gave me the power to share?
Uh-huh.
My mentality was completely off, and then I needed to stop. So I mean, every time that I feel like desperate to cry, I start running, because I will just go and run and run, and then I start cycling. So right now I love cycling, and cycling actually helped me a lot, because first I could only rode like 20 miles,
Okay.
and then I was doing 40 miles, and then 50 miles, and then 100 miles. So that proved me that my body was able to do more,
Right.
and it built my self confidence little by little. And then at work too, like I will implement new projects, new ideas, and it started working. And I was like, wow, like this actually it's working, right?
Right.
And then I will do a reflection with myself, like, let's go back, like what Mavis likes, what do I like, what makes me happy, not make happy like this person or this other. It's like what makes me happy. So it's not an easy process, but yes, you can get out of there.
Right.
And one of the promise that I did, I close my eyes and I truly, truly speak to my heart, and I say, Mavis, for now on, like I'm gonna take care of you. No one is gonna come here and tell you that you're less. No one is gonna come here and insult you anymore, and no one is gonna come here and abuse you, because I'm gonna protect you, and I will take care of you. And I promised that to myself. And since that day, I've been keeping the promise.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And, thank you again for sharing that, because it is something that, women need to hear. And there are men out there that are in that same situation, but I think there's more women, that this happens to, whatever, for whatever reason, it just is. And well, there's more of us on the planet too, so I guess it takes into consideration, right? So, but to be able to do that, and it is about making that promise to yourself, because it all starts here. Whatever you're giving to yourself is what you're able to be an expression of in the outside world. So that's a beautiful thing, and to be able to come to that in your own mind and to work through that, and to have that strong mindset and that ability to say, hey, no more, right? And this is where we're going, and this is who we are, and this is how we get there, and help to build your own confidence, and to be able to be in a position, like in a job where you said, okay, you were throwing ideas out and all of a sudden they're working. So now people are actually helping you pick yourself up, right? and they're saying, wow, great idea. Oh, wow, you got any of those other good ideas, and so you really start to feel good about yourself. The shame starts to move away. The guilt starts moving away, and the reality sits in that, wow, there really isn't nothing wrong with me, right? And the universe, the divine intelligence, God, whatever you want to call it, does not build junk, right? So we're all equal, we're all one, and we're all equal. And it's being supportive of each other, and that's one of the reasons too why I started this little show and started talking about that being that best you that you can be, because it's a way of getting better and better and better, and not be a product of that environment. You have the choices to be free, or you have the choices to make your own prison. But when it boils down to, it's not that other person, it's here.
Everything starts here.
It does. But to be able to, and again, I think the lines of communication are getting open, even broader now, to where women are starting to come together in circles and be that strength for each other, and start picking them up and being able to have people like yourself on this show shows that we are together and we are united as one. So if you can use some guidance and some of Mavi's strength, comment below here, reach out to her, private message, right? Let's make this a unity, and I'm talking to people from all over the world to bring this all together, so it doesn't matter where you are on the planet, everything still is the same. Doesn't matter what your culture is, doesn't matter what your color is, doesn't matter what your age is, doesn't matter what your size is, doesn't matter what your sex is, it's still the same. We're one. We're one, and we need to look past all of that, all of this superficial stuff, and really start looking into the heart of one another and into the soul of who we are, where we come from, and get back into that world peace, that world harmony, and being in this opportunity. I really look at this being an opportunity in this social distancing, as they say, right? Is to really bring together a different togetherness on different levels, and gives us time to de-stress, revamp, and come out even stronger than going in, and more powerful than what we were, and have a more fulfilling idea and truth about who the person we call us, right?
Yes, that's beautiful. And for whoever is going through a hard time, like, just know that you just hit rock bottom. There's not gonna be nothing worse. I mean, you're already, because that was one of my points. I was like, what I'm feeling, like how broken pieces I have inside of me,
right?
How much is hurting. This is the end. Like, I mean, this is it. It's not gonna hurt no more. Like,
there's no more down.
There's
right?
no more
you're at
down.
The bottom,
That's
the only
it.
place
I'm
you
at
can
the
go is up.
Yes. So now it's like time to look up and start going up.
There you go. Right.
Yes.
Right. And then I think that's something too that we have to really recognize. Sometimes we need to really be down there on that bottom so that we can go up. And one thing I have found, and this is what I work with my clients and stuff, is, when you're down, regardless of where that level of down is, when you start that spiral up, don't skip any steps in between, because what's going to happen is going to knock you back down, right? So don't get in a hurry. Make sure you get every single one of these steps, right? So that you don't have to come back and play catch up, right? Because it's hell going backwards, right?
Yes. And like I say, like, embrace it, like what you're feeling, every little emotion.
Mm-hmm.
If it hurts, embrace it. Let yourself feel it, because it's going to turn you into a better person. Trust me, you're going to grow out of this. I grew up with this, and I decided not to live in hate. I decided when there was a reaction, a bad response, like a negative response, to respond with love, because we don't need more hate in this world.
Oh no, that is so true, so
So
true.
I was like, Mavis, it's a loving person. Mavis doesn't like hate. Mavis doesn't support hate. So Mavis is gonna respond with love. And if there's maybe I don't have something good to say, I would just keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, that's good advice. That's really good advice, because a lot of times if you don't have something good to say and some kind of comment comes out, it can make the whole situation 100 times worse than what it was as if you didn't say anything, right? And you just agree. It's like, okay, sure, okay. And then you go on about your merry way, And, the world does need more love. It really does. And if you don't feed the negative starves, right? Right? So that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And to be able to live life that way is where we're headed. And I think that's what part of this whole awakening is, the whole spiritual movements, right? It's not out there. It's what's in here. And we keep going back to what's in here, right? Right?
Yeah. At this, I mean, I think it's like whatever it's outside, like all the materialistic things, if we remove all that from your life, like who are you?
Right.
Who exactly are you? And it's about connecting yourself, finding yourself, and be proud of yourself.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
say like I'm this, like I'm Mavis, and this is me.
Right.
And just feel it, like supportive, and be you.
Be you. Right there's the key word, is just to be you and find out who that you is. And and it doesn't stop. It never stops, because you're always discovering new things about yourself. Have you found that you discover new things
Yeah.
about yourself as you keep on going? It's like, wow, that's a new piece of me. I like this, right?
Yes, like sports. I never thought I was gonna be doing like 100 miles on my bike on one day, or 150 miles riding,
Right.
or right now with Mavis by Herrera, the bags. I'm self-funded, so it's not like I have money from investors to be throwing out on marketing. So
Right.
if you go on my website or my social media, all you see there, it's made by me. I never thought I was gonna be able to build a website, and I did.
There you
Or
go.
do photography, and all the pictures are being taken by me.
Uh-huh.
So not having the resources or being limited, it gave me the power to go back inside of me and be like, okay, what else you're capable of doing, Mavis? Show me. And I did it.
That's great. What is your website where people can go to check out the stuff that you make?
It's mavisbyherrera.com.
Okay, can you spell that for us?
Yeah. MAVISHERRERA.com.
There you go. And that'll be
I will write it down.
that'll be up in the top, little
Okay.
bracket when we, put this out there. And so they'll have that address for us and everything, so they'll be able to go and see that. So, but that's really great, being creative, like what you're saying. And so now you have bags. What's next? What are you going to recycle next, right? That's my question, is like, wow.
So behind the bags, I'm excited about the bags. I love the bags, but I'm more excited what happens behind the bags.
Okay.
So I really want to put together a 3-month programs to support anyone who has pretty much self-broken in the inside, coming from a domestic violence, abuse, bullying, like anything, or it's just like, it's going to be open for everyone. Okay. To bring out the best of you, something that you can't see, but we can't see, and we're going to continue. So that's on the makings. It's going to be 3 months. It's going to be supported by therapists, psychologists. So that's something huge that I'm really, really pushing for.
That'll be beautiful. That'll be beautiful. So, and again, it's like we talked a little bit earlier, right? It's bringing bringing people together, that have like issues, right, for lack of better words, right, to be able to overcome these, with the support of a group where nobody's pointing fingers, nobody's judging, nobody's beating the other person down, nobody's, like I say, creating shames or guilt. It's just like, there's an understanding, and it's okay. So now that you shared your story, what can we do to help you get out of it? What can we do to help you get out of it? What's the next step? Where do you take these people to start building them back up and becoming whole again? Because that's what it is, when you're torn so deeply apart like that, your soul is like shattered. And so it's, it's like the old nursery rhyme where Humpty Dumpty, fell off and shattered. How do you put Humpty Dumpty back together, right?
In a beautiful way. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And with support, that can happen faster and faster, right?
And have that space open to speak up. Like a lot of times, like my life, there's days that it's not perfect. There's days that I want to give up. It's I don't have a team. It's just me running all this business and the people, my art and beautiful artisans that make the bags. But here on the business side, it's just me like taking decisions. And yes, like I'm not perfect. I'm perfectly imperfect, and I love it because I don't wanna be perfect. I wanna be me. That's part of Mavis. And it's just having that space to say, it's okay if you have a bad day. It's okay if you're thinking, it's okay, just let it go. But you know what, honey? You have 24 hours, clean your tears, because tomorrow you're gonna rock it,
Yes. Yeah, and that's great that you can have those conversations with yourself. And it is about being able to converse with yourself. And not every day is going to be a perfect day. Right? But you plow through it, right? And then you sleep on it, you pick yourself up, and you're ready to go. But it is okay to have a down day. But know it's a down day. And that it's one day. It's not one day leads to another, to a week, to a month, to a year. No. Right?
Oh, we don't have time to be wasting on that.
No, we sure don't. We sure don't. And it's interesting that you said one of the things that helped you most was you got on your bike, you started riding. You went out in nature. And nature is the ultimate harmony. Nature finds a way to harmonize itself no matter what. When you are out in nature, you have to move into its harmony. And that's what brings you and elevates you even more. So don't lock yourself up. Right?
Even a good point that you mentioned, because part of me starting this sustainable bags, it was through all my travel. Because every time I travel, I don't stay in the cities. I go to a small little village in the middle of nowhere.
Uh-huh.
And it was because I wanted to be connected with nature. So I love trees. I love the ocean. I love mountains. You can find me in the mountains during the weekend or during the week. I love it. I love seeing sunrises, sunsets. And then meeting these people like in different countries, like in Indonesia. When I went there, I went in Yogyakarta, and I was living in the mountains there in Java, and I met this family. They only make like $3 per week, and that's it. But they teach me that if you take care of nature, nature take care of you. And they show me this different way of living through nature.
Mm-hmm.
That it was one of the best things. Like I didn't need clothes, I didn't need nothing. And kids were playing with little rocks as the football, like a soccer ball. Like it was with so little, they had so much, and it was just wonderful. And those are the things that really connect with myself. Like put my feet on the ground and be like, don't forget what we're here, Mavis. And I was like, okay, I want to do bags also that help the environment and the community as well. I'm like, yes, we can do it. And yes. But yeah, nature really helps you a lot. It just brings you a different attitude, perspective. heals by itself. Nature is beautiful.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing that story. It's beautiful. And, again, it is about getting back to nature. We get so lost in technology. These little things, oh my gosh, we can get so lost in that world, and so focused on that we forget what is actually around us. And so being in these times that we've been forced into, and I really personally think it's, Mother Nature's way of purging as well, to look at things differently and to start taking the little things that we take for granted, and to be grateful for what we have. And what can we do to get resourceful, right? And put things together, like you do with your bags and stuff like that, and cleaning up the environment, right? I love Pinterest, for one thing, is so great because they have all the DIY stuff, and it's just looking at some of the stuff, the creations that people make out of what we call trash. It's like, wow, it's amazing. In Vegas, I lived down there for a while, and I'm in and out of there a lot. They revamped the downtown area, and all the old buildings and stuff that were down there, they made into different art galleries. And the majority, probably about 95% of everything that's down there is DIY. All recycled stuff that people did. And the artisticness, and it blew me away. Just going from one store to the next, to the next, to the next. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how do these people's brains work to take that, put it into this piece of art, making bookshelves out of ski boards, and I mean, it's crazy. It was just crazy. Taking old chairs, putting them upside down, making this and that out of it. I was blown away. I was really blown away, and I thought I had a creative mind. Not so much.
That just happens. I like on the creative side. I really love photography.
Okay.
I was going to become a photographer, but my mentor was like, no, go to college and then you get back to photography. And I was like, okay. But right now it's pretty cool because through Mavis Herrera, I incorporated my passion for photography, my passion for nature, the environment, and my passion for helping people. Wow. So it's like all in
the
one.
best of all worlds, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. I bet you've got some actually awesome pictures from all over the world, right? Yeah. What are some? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What are some of your most favorite places that you've traveled to?
South America. I went to Patagonia for 23 days by myself. It was one of the best trips ever. Yeah. I was pretty much hiking. I went on this hike. It's called Fitzroy. It was like 6 hours hike.
Oh, wow.
And guess what? So I'm here by myself, right? My little backpack, my water, my snacks. Well, I ran out of snacks. Not only that, the sandwich that I brought, I put the wrong one. So it was bad.
Okay.
And I was like 5 hours already into the hike, meaning that was in the middle of nowhere with no food and no water. So there's the water from the glacier coming down, and I saw movies like people survive with water, so I can survive for another 6-7 hours with just water. And the water tasted so good. It was so pure that it hurt my stomach so bad. And so I was walking, and I sit down on a rock, and next thing my hand, I touched a bag, and I was like, what the plastic bag is doing here? I look at it, and it had dry fruit, and I was like, yes.
No.
So I finished my hike, and then I went back, and when I got back to the hostel, I was vomiting. I was so sick. Like, I didn't want to call my parents and let them know because they were going to be so upset. And I was like, okay. And the good thing there was a doctor there and took care of me. But I mean, I always have some funny situations happen.
Yeah, but that's part of the learning curve too. And as you said earlier, nature finds a way of taking care of us, right?
Yes.
So out of nowhere, here comes this bag of fresh fruit. It's like, wow, And so, yeah, things like that happen when you are in a higher elevation of vibration, when you're not coming from fear, right? And you're staying positive, and it's like, okay, I've got myself in a situation. What do I need to do to get out of it? Okay, universe, God, whoever it is out there, give me something here, give me a sign, give me some direction, and it always happens. Something will change to make sure that you get out of that situation and get back to where you need to be, into the safety, right?
Yes. One time I was in Indonesia, and I was about to take my flight to Bali from Yogyakarta, another city close to Bali. And the volcano was erupting in Bali, right?
Oh, okay.
And I was trapped there for 5 days. People were trying to leave Bali, and I was trying to get in Bali. I did plan A, B, C, plan C. I mean, I did all this, and any of my plans didn't work. So I told myself, okay, if after plan B, plan C doesn't work, plan D is go back home. Because the worst, okay, let's say that if I get myself to Bali, well, the worst thing that can happen is an earthquake, which check, it does happen in Bali. There's a lot of earthquakes. 2, the safest place, it's on top of the volcano, which is not safe right now because the volcano is erupting. 3, you're gonna be stuck here for I don't know how many weeks, and there's a lot of diseases. So I was like, okay, time to go home. And
Right.
I came back, but I will go back again one day.
Right. Right. And that's beautiful. And it's it's really great that you can talk to yourself like that and have that conversation and say, okay, let's see what let's see what the logistics are here, and what are my options? What are my options? Rather than getting feared, and running here and run there, and it's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, right? It's like, I mean, I'm sure you know people like that, right? You sit back and you say, what are my options? To go through those, you got 5 options here, how do they play into each other? And what is going to be the best for me? Because this is where it starts and this is where it ends, right? And so I really love your thinking, I love your energy, your upbeat, your positive, direction, and the ability to just really stay focused on who you are, what you are, and why you are. And when you can answer those 3 questions, who you are, what you are, and why you are, life just gets better. Would you find that true?
Yes, yes. I promised myself I was not gonna let myself go again. I was not gonna lose myself again, no matter what. Like, no. And yes, right now I know who I am. I know why I'm here, and I know like why. Right? Those 3 things are very important.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, 3 days ago, I shared on my Facebook, my 1-year anniversary of being on this journey as an entrepreneur.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. And I share at the end that why did I start it? Because I wanted purpose over money. And why? Because I know why Mavis Carolina Herrera is here, right?
There
I
you
know
go.
who I am. I know why I exist. So yes.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And on that note, that is going to be the show. So one more time, give everybody your information, where they can get in contact with you. I'm going to put up your little info card here as well.
Okay, so you can find me on Facebook by Mavis Carolina Herrera, or at the Facebook Mavis by Herrera, and also on Instagram Mavis by Herrera. And you can send me a direct message. Just say hi. I'm here. I'm the one responding all the messages. So feel free to say, hey, Mavis, if you want to share, if you want any advice or anything, I'm here.
Reach out. That's what we're here
Yes.
for. Comment below, private message, you know. And again, if you want to be on the show, there's going to be a link above here where you can, you know, be on the show and share your story and what it is about you that you want to share, and let people know that being that best you is something that you do daily, right? Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Oh, it's been a pleasure, and we'll have to bring you back another time when you got a few more things under your belt, you know, your little new adventure that you're getting into, and we'll definitely stay in touch. So it's time to say goodbye to everyone and go out there and be that best you that you can be. Why? Because Mavis and I are going to do what? We're going to be the best we that we can be. So we'll see you all on the next show.
Bye.
What?